everyone. We're doing a Burning Sands analysis. My name is Cleo.
My name is Josie. And we're sisters. And we just saw Burning Sands yesterday on Netflix.
Okay, so basically we're going to talk about the lack of character development in Burning Sands.
I thought Burning Sands was a good movie. It was from A to Z kind of movie. Just step A to step B to step D to step whatever.
It was very predictable.
Yeah, very predictable, very formulaic. The main issue I have with Burning Sands is the lack of character development.
Mm-hmm.
So you know Xeric is the main guy. He's the main protagonist we follow through his trials and tribulations on the campus.
Mm-hmm.
But I was more interested in the more minor characters. So I was more interested in Trevante Rhodes' character, who is the...
Trevante is Chiron.
Yeah, from Moonlight, that came out earlier, well, last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like the, what is he called? The fraternity line...
Pledge brother.
Yeah, he's responsible for the pledgies.
I don't think he's called a pledge brother, but he's responsible for them.
Yeah, I thought his character was really interesting because he was more tender with the kids.
Mm-hmm. But there was only like one or two scenes where they really showed him being tender. It wasn't no like one-on-one with Pledgy, for instance, and saying like, oh, I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah. So yeah, there was no one-on-one basically to focus in on like why did he care about them? Mm-hmm. Why was he doing this?
Yeah.
Like why did he still keep his like moments of humanity versus like acting like his other brothers versus the Pledgies?
Yeah, and like you notice if you watch all the way to one of the last scenes where it's the Hell Night and then the people everyone's getting hazed, right? And then everyone's getting beat up and eating dog food. And then who was it? What was the one character who was helping out Xeric? What was his name again?
Xeric was helping out someone.
Oh.
Xeric was helping out Frank. That's why Frank was taken away and beaten.
Okay, so Frank. Okay, remember when Frank was getting beat up and almost about to die? Where was Trevante Rhodes' character? Like, I thought that was where Trevante Rhodes' character would have ended up. Saying, okay, guys, stop.
Okay, it wasn't even like, okay, let's say you buy the fact that he's supposed to be, like, more soft on them. Mm-hmm. There was no, like, close-up towards his face showing, like, oh my gosh, this is getting out of hand. Mm-hmm. I don't think there was any shot showing him, like, oh, this is just too much. They didn't show him at all, unless I just wasn't looking at the screen.
There was one scene where one of the heavier set brothers was paddling the Pledgies, is that what you call them? Was paddling the Pledgies. I think he was being square at this moment. And he was about to break his back with the paddle. Mm-hmm. And then Trevante Rhodes' character stopped him from doing that. So that was the only instance we saw. So we thought that was going to be like a foreshadowing to Trevante becoming a hero at the end.
Or maybe just ignoring the fact that he did that and it's just like, okay, I'm going to let the group take over.
Yeah.
So I think that was a part of the movie that there was just really too many characters, like, or you can have that many characters. It's just the fact that you need to focus it and cut it in a way where it's just like, okay, I know who this is. I know more than he's soft on them. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, so Trevante Rhodes' character was not well developed at all. But one supporting character that I did like was Square. Mm-hmm. We later learned that his name is Ernest. I like this character because he really showed how these people are just a hodgepodge of different subgroups within the fraternity or within the university, at Frederick Douglass University, and how they're just thrown together because they all want to be in the same fraternity. Mm-hmm. But then they act like they're brothers or BFFs or best friends.
Just because they're told to.
Just because they're told to. But at the end of the day, when all the thing is said and done, they really don't know each other. And I feel like the reflection between Ernest and Square, the relationship being very, like, they think they're, like, brothers from another mother type thing, but they really don't know each other.
He's like, what's my name? What's my name? Mm-hmm. And he was just like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I think that also tried to shed a light on the fact that it's embarrassing. How can you say that you're a family and you don't even know someone's name?
Yep.
So,
and that was a inadvertent, not on purpose scene that's how I felt the audience was in relation to the characters in the film. Like, we saw them interacting, we saw them
just like, but what's your
around,
name?
but who are you?
Like,
what
who
are you
was Frank?
in?
I know Frank died,
Yeah.
but I was like, but I really, it wasn't the fact. I couldn't tell them apart, but it was just like, who is Frank?
Yeah.
Who was he?
For those of you who don't know any of the characters, Frank was the one that was killed at the end of the Hell Night.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I feel like when Frank was killed off as a character, it was sad to see like a young 18-year-old freshman kid get killed off. And, like, especially because Frank, his dad was in the fraternity and his grandpa was in the fraternity.
But that was the only sentence mentioning what was his background. Who he is as a person.
I feel like when he got killed off, it's sad, but then, like, it wasn't like, oh my god.
Like, we lost Frank.
We had no tangible idea about who Frank was, what he was passionate about, what his interests were, besides that his dad and his grandpa were in the fraternity as well.
I was still trying to remember, like, where he was sitting in the car for those times. I was like, so where was Frank sitting? Where was he in relation to the main character? Mm-hmm. Because I didn't remember Frank. Mm-hmm. If you killed Square, I've been like, okay, you killed Square, he has glasses on. Mm-hmm. But other than that...
And that just goes back to our main point of the whole lack of character development. Like, okay, because I remember at the beginning of the movie, they had this one preacher boy. I don't remember what his name was. He was one of the 5 or the 6 boys that was trying to pledge. It wasn't Frank, and it wasn't Square, and it wasn't Zurich. It was one of the other ones. And they're trying to make this whole thing of, oh, he's a preacher boy, he doesn't cuss, he doesn't have sex, he's a virgin. Uh-huh. But then, like, they never take that anywhere else in the film. Like, we never see that boy again until at the very end of the movie.
Just like, oh, he cussing now.
So, Essence.com did a review of Burning Sands about a day ago, and the author talked about the portrayal of women in the movie, and she said they were very flawed, yet they had a lot of agency.
That was kind of... I thought it was just someone saying, like, oh, there's women in this movie, so, yeah, of course, they had a great role in this, and, like, so I think what she meant by agency was, like, okay, we have a professor, she's in a good position as a woman, there's a local girl, and she's showing so much about her sexuality, so that's different from the professor. Then there's a girlfriend, she's supposed to be sweet and in church and everything, and then the classmate is supposed to be within the sorority fraternity system. Mm-hmm. So I think she meant like agency, like, oh, women were throughout this whole movie and they had different roles and not just like, okay, I'm just a local girl who's gonna be ghetto the whole time or something. Mm-hmm. So now that I rethink about it, maybe that's what she meant, but I thought that, like, how can you have agency if the characters really weren't that developed? And I really didn't feel like, okay, they were adding anything to the film, let alone, like, they were minuscule people, but the way the movie focused on them made them feel like they were supposed to be adding something to it, but I didn't really feel that way.
Yeah. The girlfriend, okay, it was just a typical girlfriend role. Yeah, it was just like nothing really important. Special. Then the classmate, let's talk about the classmate, the female classmate, the girl from Empire, if y'all watch Empire. Like, she added nothing to the story. Like, okay, they introduced her at the beginning when they're having a class discussion about the Willie Lynch letter. Mm-hmm. And she has this whole thesis about the Willie Lynch letter and how it's fake.
It's not even a thesis. She's just saying it's fake. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, of all points of the conversation to focus on her speaking anyway, she's just saying it's fake. And she's arguing with the other girl, talking about, at least I'm not wearing weave or something. Which is just what was the whole point? Okay, like, just looking out at the scope of the movie, what was the point of what she said? Mm-hmm. She just said, okay, it's fake. Okay,
and the next time we see this character, I think it's the fraternity party, right? A frat party.
Yep.
And then she dances on the guy, and then that's the last time you see her in the film.
And they made it seem like she was going to be in there the whole time. Like, she was going to be an important, like, muse to him. Mm-hmm. So... talk about that local girl.
Yeah, and also the local girl we thought was interesting because her introduction to the film is similar to, if y'all are familiar with Spike Lee's 1980s classic School Days. In the film, they have what's his name? Samuel L. Jackson. Uh-huh. He plays the local guy at the KFC restaurant that Lawrence Fishburne and all them meet at KFC. And it's basically trying to tell a story of this inner conflict within the black community versus like of lower class uneducated blacks versus upper class or middle class educated blacks, which I think is I think it's just for TV. But I felt like that portrayal in Spike Lee's film was quite nuanced and interesting, because it's basically like, y'all come up in our community and treat the community in kind of way, but then y'all
walking around acting like this, that, and the other.
And after 4 years, y'all just leave and just...
And it's not like you come back and you do something for our community.
Yeah.
And become a part of our community.
So I thought that was a really nice social commentary, but the director, his name is Gerard McMurray, he tries to reintroduce that through the muse of Toya, I think her name is. She's not a prostitute, but she's a local fast food worker at Whataburger. And she's also like the semi-pseudo girlfriend of Rotimi's character.
And let's mention the fact that she does say, like, no one forces me to do this. And it's...
To do whatever,
to have sex. And basically, feminists are gonna get on me, but it's just like, she just finished having sex with one guy, she's like, she jumps on the other guy, and he was like, wait, what? And he's like, no one forces me to do this.
But it's like, I can't really buy that situation, because one, she makes $8 an hour, and they treat her like she's a local prostitute, because she just comes around whenever they want her to come around. And then,
and they can reject her when they want to. Yeah. Because when she was trying to get in the party, the very first one they had, she was like, "Oh, let me come in here. Like, let me get up in here." And then, what's his name? Like, Rotimi. He was like, "Nah, you ain't coming up in here." And she was like, "But wait, why?" And this, it wasn't like, okay, this party is dead, is dying. This was in the middle of the like. Up and up of this party, and he was like, "No, you can't come in here."
But then 2 days later, he's like, "Oh yeah, but it's time to have sex." And, "Oh yeah, come on, cool, bring you your friend."
Which yeah, I guess is a reflection of him, but it's just like,
it's also a reflection of her.
I guess she doesn't mind being treated that way because no one forced her to do that. So yeah, there you go.
But I feel like, what else do we have to say about this movie, Cleo?
Well, yeah, it was alright.
So overall, it was an alright film.
I mean, you know how you watch a trailer and it says Sundance with those little leaves around it, and you're like, okay, this gotta be good.
Yeah.
Be wary of that. So.
Yeah.
It's alright.
Yeah. The film was alright. I mean, check it out on Netflix. It just aired yesterday, the day before yesterday. It's pretty good. I mean, watch it just for a watch, but it's not anything riveting or novel or brand new. It's just the same old A to Z, same old. If
you want to watch some hazing, there you go.
Yeah, some hazing porn. Just watch it. Okay, thanks guys.
Bye.